And we're recording.
All right, then. Welcome to another episode of Bamboo Shoots. And
Da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da. This is low budget music.
low budget music. Oh, we'll get high budget music. Just you wait. This will be
Okay.
fun if we add some, music intro to this and then you make a fool of yourself by singing it. Low budget music. Yeah, no, I'm not working that much extra just to make that point. Anyways, all right. So, Gentle Bamboo Solutions is the company. Abhilash is my name. Rakshit is yours.
Yes.
And we do this series called Bamboo Shoots. And bamboo shoots are these small ideas that inform our uh, company's direction. They help us find that direction, the small things that we do and how we find something new from that for the company. They are not academic research, they are still opinion based, our opinions. And what we want to talk about today is what I am pointing to here, which is the Oxfam Trail Walker.
Ooh. The Oxfam Trail Walker.
Oxfam is the company, trail is an uneven surface of land, and
Mhm.
walker is a person who walks, aka me.
Yes. And therefore, let me ask you, Abhilash, what prompted that lunacy of deciding to walk 100 kilometers in 2 days?
I don't know. The fact that I'd never done it, to be honest. And this is it. This happened in February,
Mhm.
and February of this year.
Last, sorry, this year, right?
This
No.
year, yeah, no,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
time is all weird. Yeah, no, I think it is this
No,
year. This year, 2020, 6th of February 2020 is when the Oxfam Trail Walker 100K happened. I am 100% certain of this, so don't.
are you sure? Because I remember there was also a time we were playing a lot of Dungeons and Dragons.
No, 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 no.
No?
This is it. This is it. This is
Okay.
really when it happened. Oxfam
Okay.
Trail Walker 2020 is when the 100K walk that I signed up for happened. I had signed up
Uh-huh.
for it obviously about 8 months ago,
Hmm.
and I tried to rope you into it and kind of ask
Yes.
you to join me. You did not. And
Yes.
overall, what I want to talk about is that trail walk. This was a 100-kilometer walk that I had to do in 48 hours,
Hmm.
and I had a team of 4 people. Uh, Sridhar, Mahesh, Roshan. Shout out to you. These were my teammates, and we practiced real hard on this.
No, what do you mean by teammates? I mean, what kind of walking requires teammates in the first place? You have your own legs, so what is a team doing here?
Okay, a team is required because the walk is 100 kilometers long stretch. Much of that you're walking in, you know, darkness, because it's a 48-hour long walk. You're walking through sometimes other people's fields while their permission has been taken,
Mhm.
but fields have dogs and snakes and all sorts of animals, and you don't want to go into that darkness all by yourself. And 2 people are sometimes not good enough, because sometimes if something happens during the walk, yeah, the
Right.
person to whom it did not happen has to go fetch somebody, and this
Right.
person who's suffering cannot be left by himself. So in the team that decided, that Oxfam team that decided how to do the trail walk, in their you know uh, plan, decided that 4 is the right number of people to have in a walk.
Right. Right. No, makes sense.
3
This
is
is wonderful.
acceptable, 3
Three is
is
acceptable.
acceptable, 2 is not,
Right.
1
And so
is
you
definitely out,
right, right,
right?
right. Makes sense. That make no. I want to have this conversation. I know we've started having this conversation multiple times and never really done it. So this, ladies and gentlemen, Bamboo Shoots is essentially a brainstorm of sorts, a live brainstorm of sorts. So I really want for us to unpack this experience, and see if there's anything here that we can actually take and start applying. It's been some time since you've done this. And post that, I think you also took up another challenge this year, didn't you? So you've done it twice now. There is enough perspective. So let's unpack this. Go on. So, what is the Oxfam? When you say 100 kilometers, 48 hours, is it walking continuously for 48 hours? Do you have breaks in the middle? How is this structured?
Right. So Oxfam is Trail Walker is an amazing organization. Oxfam is an amazing organization. Oxfam Trail Walker is an amazing event because
Hmm.
Oxfam collects all this money. We also have to raise a charity of 1 lakh per team or something,
Oh,
and
wow.
we contribute all of that charity towards, helping out a lot of, underprivileged people, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
And we spread that word. We are not only contribute our money, we collect money from others. I know I collected from you,
Hmm.
and we do a lot of that. And at the end of the day, why we are doing it is for charity,
Right.
the money collection. But
Right.
why are we doing this? It is because there is something about humans, which is that we want to constantly know what we can achieve and how far we can push.
Right.
And it's uh, people do it in various aspects. It's not like if I do 100K you have to do it also and prove that you're physically capable. You might have another area of endurance that you're testing in yourself. Some people
Right.
decide to run, some people go the weightlifting way, that's the physical aspect. Some people do that mental thing where they want to memorize entire books. And there's a lot of ways in which we want to push the limits of our endurance, and Oxfam allows you the, how do I say, opportunity to
Hmm.
explore that innate human desire.
Hmm.
What they allow you also is a very safe way of doing it.
Right.
48 hours and 100 kilometer is not much if you think about it, right?
I was going to say, because I remember when
Yeah.
you first introduced that challenge to me,
Hmm.
thinking it's just walking.
Right.
And then I saw the blisters on your foot. So go
Yeah.
on.
Oh yeah. So the way this thing works, at least the Oxfam Trail Walker works, is that in 48 hours you're allowed to walk as long as you want, rest as long as you want. Every 8 or 10 kilometers, they set up some sort of a place where you can rest your tired legs. In fact, they have all sorts of medical attention there. They have
Hmm.
people who can massage your feet and shoulders.
Hmm.
They give you refreshments, they give you water, they give you juices. I mean, they take care of you like you are the star. And that's their point, that you are the star because you are working hard not only for yourself, but you also raised money for the charity and all of that,
Right.
right?
Right.
And they take really good care of their participants. And
Hmm.
lest it become an Oxfam advertisement, and I don't want that to be, but I cannot stop recommending them as an organization to contribute towards. And
Right.
that is also a thing. So something unfortunate happened though during that walk, and you're aware of it.
Right. Right.
My dad was not well for an entire week leading to that day, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
It's a 48-hour walk, and my dad was in the ICU and was released on the day of the race, which
Hmm.
means I have to pick between either participating in a race or getting him home from the ICU back into the
And
safety of
and
our home.
and this is after what, about 6 months of practice every night?
Easy.
Yeah.
6 months of practice, at least 3 hours of walking every single day without exception for 6 months. That happened. So, as much as I want to be a good son, and I was, because I decided to, focus on getting him back to home, and I decided to not do day one of that after all that preparation. It hurts because the preparation that you put into it leading to the event is so much that you
Hmm.
really want to check, okay, I can walk 20 kilometers non-stop every night.
Hmm.
I know that now. But
Hmm.
can I walk 100 kilometers at a stretch with breaks, whatever, or not? And while I could not
Hmm.
participate in day one, and I was kind of heartbroken. I was very happy that my father's been, released from the hospital and we're back
Right.
home. But at the same time, I won't lie, I was devastated that after putting that much time into it, I could not actually participate in the event, right?
Right. Right.
And I was here, I was sitting at home and crying about it when the team, remember, the 4 people team, because they were 3, they were allowed to participate in my absence also, and they started doing it. And around the, how do I say, early morning of day 2, I decided to check in with them, because the day 1 was so stressful for me that I was not checking in what's going on and all of that. I checked in with them on day 2, and turns out on day 1 they had finished about 55-60 kilometers of their walk, and we were like, this is happy sailing now. We have got that. We are rested. We have slept, and we have done all of that, and we are good to go, right? And I checked in. I said, good luck, guys. I'm sorry I could not be with you. I wish you all the best and all of that.
Right.
And I kind of got busy with my day. Around, how do I say, afternoon-ish is when I got a call from one of them that they are feeling very, very tired. They're deciding if they should really continue or give up. And somebody had developed lots of blisters. Another had developed a big cramp. And overall, while 70 kilometers has been smooth sailing, if I might call it smooth, the remaining 30 kilometers was becoming far too much of a trouble, right? And I checked in with my family. My dad was fine. My mom was taking care of him. My wife said, we can manage this. And I decided, you know what? This is something that I need to, take charge of now. I'm the only one who has got legs which are rested by not moving. I've been pretty much driving a car and staying at home all day. And these are, teammates that we practice together. And they have this saying, okay, a cheesy saying which says, when your feet can't carry you, walk with your heart, right? And there comes a point when the heart is not enough also, because the heart is telling you, see, if you think about it, your heart will tell you, what is the bloody point? Why am I doing this?
Right.
What is the point I'm making? And what happens is, when you're physically that tired, when you're just unable to move, your brain will start rationalizing this for you. You know what? Even if I finish it, what's the big deal?
Correct.
Right? And that is when I believe they needed me, my team. And I got into a car. That thing is like 150 odd kilometers away from where I live.
Okay.
So breakneck speed. I was driving and saying, no matter what, you're not dropping out. Just sit tight and I'm coming. I reached there around 6 in the evening.
Okay.
And find where they are, which specific checkpoint they are at, go in there. And I start walking with them for the remaining 30 kilometers. Now I know I can do this 30 kilometers because I've been doing it every day pretty much for months now.
This is exactly what you prepared for.
This is exactly what I prepared for, right? And I go there and I see that while their spirits are high, their bodies are kind of giving up. Right. And in hindsight, they all agree that they might still have gone ahead, but they were not sure if they will be able to, because you need somebody at a point like that, a literal shoulder to lean on, right? And it's not easy. Nobody has ever done anything like that. We all got carried away and signed up for an event like that. We practiced and all of that. And the human body is not as strong as the human mind thinks it is. And every once in a while, we want to give up. When I went there, what happened was the next 4, 5, 6 hours, I was pretty much holding their hands and walking. I let them rest their hands on my shoulder. At one point, I was physically dragging one of the people that it's there, right? And we reach somehow, we cover 25, 30 more kilometers. And I remember my team, and once again, shout out for you guys. They said in so many words, I think they're just being nice, that thank you for deciding to come. We were able to finish because you were there to, motivate us along the way. Right. And that is okay. I mean, let me just finish the race now. So we reached the last 200, 300 odd meters. And it's full on drums playing and people dancing, and everybody is, and that encouragement has been through at every checkpoint, right?
It's like
every
a last
8 or 10
mile
kilometers.
celebration to get to the rest stop.
But this was nothing like anything.
Okay.
The number of people who were there, the sheer number of people who were happy for strangers finishing a meaningless walk,
Right.
right? If you boil it down to its essence, was so much. There was a big clock running. There were people who were posing with holding their time and
Huh.
doing all of that. And there were laddus being distributed. There were, you name it, stuff was happening, which would blow your mind away. How well the whole thing was organized, right? And I just want to talk about the last 200 meters here,
Yeah.
right? And this happens in pretty much all races, no matter how you have done in the rest of the walk. So if you're in a marathon or an ultra marathon, a 100K run or whatever, what happens at one point is that as you start nearing the end, your
Mhm.
body, no matter what, if you pushed it hard, towards the end, your body is giving up,
Hmm.
right? At the speed that you started, it kind of goes down a bit and then comes up. And finally, you are just going through the motions. You're like one foot after the other. I have to finish this walk, finish this race, and be done with it. And I'll never ever do this to my body ever again. You're saying
Right.
this and just walking, right?
Right.
And the last 200 meters, something magical happens. Okay.
Right.
It's not the second wind that they talk about in a run. It's not
Uh-huh.
that. This is
Uh-huh.
that final gasp of air that you pull in and you sprint.
Okay.
You were not in a position to lift one foot ahead of the other and continue walking for a while. Many of us were walking with sticks supporting us, and one stick becomes two sticks, and you're, groveling at one point. It's no longer a walkathon; it's a crawlathon, and you reach that point where you have reached the final 200 meters,
Right.
and you sprint, and the energy that brings
You
in.
do you sprint on your own volition, or are you told no, you should sprint now? What happens there?
It's a bit of both.
It's a
I
bit of
mean,
both. Okay.
you've been building up to that moment, right? that
Right.
that finish line is
Uh,
something that you want to cross, and you're telling that in your mind that that's all I have to do. And once
mhm.
you reach there, you don't want to crawl through that line. You want to,
Right.
you know call back to another episode,
Mm.
is like Harry Potter says that there is a way in which you go into a war. You can either be
Yeah.
dragged in by your enemy, or you walk into the arena your head held high.
Right. Right. Right.
And Harry knew deep within that he was the second kind,
Correct.
right?
Correct.
So this is a bit like that finish line. You don't want to have a weakness or display weakness even to yourself. You want to
Right.
believe that all the wounds are healed and you can now sprint. You do pay the price for it a bit once you finish that line, but that price is worth it,
Yeah.
right?
No,
And
they say
finishing
this
that.
about training programs as well, right? That you
Mhm.
want to end on a high, or any
Yeah,
public
yeah.
speaking assignment. You want to end on a high. So I get that.
Correct, correct,
I get
correct.
the feeling.
So
Gone.
the whole idea of going after that and finishing that sprint, and as we sat there waiting for our turn to collect our medals and certificates and lots of other memorabilia that Oxfam gave us, the three people who finished
Mhm.
the race, and my entire
Mhm.
team finished, by the way. Nobody gave up
Mhm. Mhm.
in between, and the three people who finished it got a medal that said, uh, you completed the race.
Right.
And I got a certificate that said you supported
Right.
others, right?
Right.
And for a moment there, I was torn between two, feelings
Mm-hmm.
that, if only my father was released from that ICU bed a day before or 2 days after,
Mm-hmm.
one way or the other, I would have got that completion certificate as well. But the number of people who cheered for somebody who supported the runners was actually higher than the one people that who finished. It's almost, that runner and pacer concept that we talk about,
Right.
that when you are a runner, you're running for yourself. But when
Mm-hmm.
you're a pacer, you are running for yourself, yes. Additionally, you're helping others finish the race as well.
Mm-hmm.
And that has, I think, to a large extent, given a better perspective for me on what my role was in that race.
Mm-hmm.
That I was helping others succeed, and there is happiness and success in that approach as well. And while it was not by choice, if given a choice, I would much rather have wanted to finish my own race. But
Right.
The jury is out on whether I would have been able to finish it.
Right.
What if I could not finish my race? But this way, everybody kind of succeeded as well. And I felt there was a lot of value in it.
No, this is such a nice metaphor for the industry we are in
Yes.
also, right? In that
Yeah.
we are not always going to be there every step of the way for any of our
Hmm.
learners or coaches. What we are essentially there to do is to provide that little bit of a guiding hand to
Mhm.
help them succeed.
Hmm.
Uh, is that how you see this as well, or is there something deeper to it?
Yeah, no, that's pretty much how I see of it. And I would go another step further and say that that is not possible if you are not practicing for the past 6 months.
Right,
You can't just waltz into a 100K race with 30K to go and say, I will walk with you and support you, if you don't understand what pain they are going through, if you don't
right,
understand what specifically they need to do as well, right?
right.
And to a large extent, in my mind, the job of a trainer, a coach, a pacer
Hmm.
is as much as a participant, a runner, or walker,
Right,
while being a little more than that.
right.
So you should have the ability in yourself to finish it
Hmm.
while understand, and that is because you want to understand how finishing a race feels like, how finishing, what does it take, what physical and mental strengths does it require, what happens when somebody is complaining that they have a cramp in their left leg, where do you support them, how do you hold them, do you tell
Right.
them to lean on this stake, or do you tell them to sit and not strain it any further, what specific actual advice do you give?
Hmm.
And that is part one. And part two is that how do you motivate them, how do you tell them that it's 25 kilometers to go, but you're like, it's just there, come on, you've done this far. How do you motivate them without it sounding all fake, right?
Right. It's that classic discussion, right? That I need to have all three in any training program. I have to impart mindset, I have to impart skill set, I have to impart tool set, and for all of that to be there, for it to be a comprehensive training program, so to speak, and the
Mhm,
learner gets the most value out of it.
mhm,
I need to have all three, and all three come from my own credibility, in that I need to have some experience in that space myself. I need to have put in the hours and the work. I need to anticipate the kind of challenges that my learners are facing, and only then do I know uh, which specific tools, which specific skills to focus on for that given audience. Otherwise it's just an information dump.
yeah, yeah, true, true, true. And yeah, no, Oxfam taught me a lot more than I asked from it. And
Hmm.
like you said, they did something this August, I think,
Uh-huh.
where they said you do your own self-paced 100K. We can't do, obviously bring people together and do that. And they allowed us to do 100K by ourselves. Every day you have to upload what amount of kilometers you have walked, and they
Right,
obviously asked for donations. And what we as participants did was we recorded our own thing. And this time they had two choices. Rather than doing a 48 hours 100K, they said, let's take it a little easy.
hmm,
Let's do 10K a day
okay,
into 10 days. And we did that. And while I know that I walk around 10K a day, any case every day, but the fact that you cannot miss a single day, because if you miss it, your next day becomes that much more difficult, is still a challenge. And
right,
Oxfam keeps doing it. And I strongly recommend that, dear listener, dear watcher, to go, you know, sign up for Oxfam's updates. See when the race is happening. They also do a 50K race along with 100K. You don't have to always do a 100K. If you
right.
feel unprepared for it, do a 50K. And walking is life, like some people say. You learn a lot because it's a literal journey, and in that journey so many things come. And I'm going towards
No,
a philosophy that we don't want to talk about today.
no, I do have a question though for you,
Mhm.
because you talked so much about Oxfam, and I know you are involved in a lot of different things, right? You are interested in poetry, you're interested in magic now, and it helps that you are in an industry that requires you to tell a lot of stories, and I'm sure all of these experiences hobbies lend themselves to great stories. Now, do I pick up hobbies, or do I pick up these things because I want to tell a story, or do I pick them up and the story just comes at the end of it?
Yes.
I ask this because I ask this because I do not want to send out a message wherein, hey, Abhilash did this and it taught him these lessons, and so I should do it too.
Yeah. No, see, here's the thing. As far as walking is concerned,
Mm-hmm.
I would still recommend that you pick that up. Not just walking, any long distance endurance thing. You
Mm-hmm.
pick your battles, right?
Okay.
The one that you like to do. If you want to do a 21K run, or you want to do a 100K cycling thing or something, I definitely encourage people to pick up something of endurance. And what when your that literal thing that happens when your feet can't carry you anymore, do
Right.
you have enough mental strength to push through that, right, without giving into the uh, rationalizations of the mind that says this is meaningless, what is the point of doing this? If you think about it, every running race that we participate in, every marathon event, it's all purposeless. If you
Right.
you can run by yourself, why do you want to run with 10,000 people, sweaty people, smelly people running by you? That makes no sense at all. But there is lots and lots of lessons to be learned in endurance sport. And will that be useful in your training career? Probably. But you do that because you become a better person because of that, going after your own endurance. But other than that, I do not expect people to pick up hobbies because they lend to good stories. But instead, you, like you said, pick up the hobbies that you want, experiment with hobbies, and whatever sticks with you will give you enough stories to keep you full for your training sessions. Does that answer the question, Rakshit?
Yes, it does. And I think that's a wonderful note for us to close this episode of Bamboo Shoots. It's been interesting. I mean, I've always wanted to unpack this experience,
Mhm.
because I have personally not been in any endurance sport, so to speak, that is of physical nature. I've of course played chess rather competitively, and there is a different kind of endurance required there. We'll talk about that, unpack that some other day. But
Mhm.
I loved the metaphor, especially of how this can be how the role of someone who even comes in for the last 30 kilometers, right? The role you played in your first Oxfam, a trail walk, where you were not part of the entire 100-kilometer race, but you were there for the last 30 kilometers. And that role, and the importance of that role in the success of your team, that was something very interesting for me. So thank you, Abhilash. It's been wonderful, and I think that is this particular episode of Bamboo Shoots, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much. Do like, do share, do subscribe primarily, more than the like and the share. I think let's be very honest here,
Yeah, no,
right?
true.
But yes, let us know if there's anything else that you'd like us to talk about. We are generally brainstorming in these talks, and if there's any particular idea you want us to further explore, go ahead, let us know in the comments, and we should be able to do that. Thank you very much, and bye bye.
Bye bye.